Hi, my name is Rachael Heffer and I serve as Head of Mission at the Evangelical Alliance. I live in Ely in Cambridgeshire where I'm married to my husband Darren and I have two boys who are 12 and 9, and I believe I'm proof that God has a sense of humour but also a sense of purpose when it comes to making his good news known through the world of sport. As a child, I was a keen dancer, but I used to hate PE and hate sports day and lived in fear of that awful bleep test. And yet, as an adult, I've married into what is an Arsenal-obsessed family with a husband who's a die-hard Arsenal season ticket holder, and now have two young boys who adore football similarly, play for our local team, train 5 times a week, and have me whizzing all over the county in all weathers to matches far and wide. That said, for me personally, over the last 8 years, I've actually become a very keen runner myself. I've developed a love of cycling too, and 3 times a week face a brutal boot camp early morning at the crack of dawn, which leaves me both feeling exhilarated and quite broken. But I've become really passionate over the years of seeing sport and these multitude of opportunities where either mine or my boys' activities collide with people from all walks of life as simply amazing opportunities to get alongside individuals or families. And these moments I've found that shared week after week, whether it's dropping children off to classes or doing boot camp myself or sitting for hours on the side of a football pitch or a swimming pool, these really do offer us the opportunities to just share life and develop genuine friendships, and where possible to speak or to share nuggets of truth, of the reality and the truth of Jesus with those around us, whether that's in a rugby match, ferrying kids home, or come what may. It seems to me that sport offers us such an open goal when it comes to sharing Jesus' love with others through genuine friendship evangelism. And when we recognise that 2 to 3 million people attend church every week and yet 50 plus million people are invested in sport, why would we not, as individual Christians and as the church, seize the day and make the most of these opportunities that the world of sport throws us week after week? I first recognised these opportunities myself when I found myself week in, week out, layered up, coffee in hand, hoping to withstand the freezing cold conditions on the side of a football pitch, cheering one or both of my 2 sons on in their football matches. And quite frankly, after 2 hours at least, not being able to feel my feet anymore. And yet, despite the pain, I soon recognised that standing side by side as you do with other parents lent itself to some very real life conversations emerging about their week, about the loss of a parent, about the fear over job redundancy, an anxious child, school runs, whatever it may be. And these real life conversations offered up a real depth and an openness to often people seeking out comfort and truth and reassurance. For me, again, on one occasion, one mum was sharing with me that her 11-year-old wasn't able to sleep at night because he was worrying so incessantly about school. And I felt really prompted to share that, as I had been a worrying 11-year-old too, quite fearful at times, my mum had written out the verses from Philippians 4, verses 6 to 7, saying, "Don't worry about anything, but pray about everything and give all your worries to God." And the following week after I'd mentioned that, I wrote it out. I printed out an image from the internet and I gave it to her in an envelope and just said, why not try it and give it to her son? She came back to me to say she'd really appreciated it, gave it to her son, and that he too had found a real peace from acknowledging those words. We know, don't we, in John 20:21, Jesus says, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, so I am sending you." So we are now called to be those individuals who show Jesus' love to the world within the diverse and amazing world of sport and well beyond. We're called to be good news people in a bad news world, to be really intentional in those spaces that, let's face it, crave God's peace and God's love and comfort. As we see this COVID map unfolding ahead of us too, and sport flares up again with lots of groups open and football pitches back happening again, or judo classes, ballet classes, we're called to take up this mission field, to be the church, to be God's people in those spaces and show his love through the world of sport too. So my rallying cry to myself, to you as the church, as individuals, is let us not abdicate our role within this. If we're not an out and out sporto, well, let's just look to the places where we ferry our kids to, where we coach or we volunteer in places where sport is going on. If we're coaching or we're dropping our kids or we're immersed in sport ourselves, let us develop those genuine friendships, but also bravely and boldly take up the mantle to make Jesus known in those spaces. If as a church, how could we serve these community places? Could we serve tea on the sidelines? Could we invite people to a wellbeing or an alpha course born out of the genuine friendships that we hold in those spaces? Because we know that the truth can transform lives. COVID has certainly shown us, hasn't it, that when all is stripped away, we are born, we are made simply to be in relationship, one with each other and with our Father God in heaven. And so we are called, whether it be pitchside, parkside, poolside, wherever it may be, that surely we're in the process of helping to partner with God to see life transformed, and through the world of sport too, seeing this as an open goal to be effective, to be intentional, and surely in this season and the coming seasons to really make Jesus known.